Yeah, so remember that time when I said I was going to be uploading a YouTube video roughly once a week to share interesting things I'm learning at school, etc., and keep you all updated on my, experience of the PhD program in Bible and theology? Well, I failed to make good on that commitment. So I do apologize because I know that all of you have been racing to my YouTube channel page, desperately hoping every day, every week that there will be another video, and there has not been. And so you have not been treated to my wonderful on-screen rantings and discussions. However, seeing as how, as far as I know so far, my entire subscriber base consists of people who know me personally, you probably have been treated to my rantings and ravings and discussions in person, and so I suppose you haven't really missed much. However, I digress. I feel the need to get back into this, and I need to give you an update. You know, it turns out, actually, that the very thing that is supposed to be the impetus for this YouTube channel, namely my experience in education as a PhD student in Bible and theology, that thing turns out to really get in the way of having a YouTube channel. But I guess I'm back. So what I want to do in this video is basically just give you an update as to, I guess, where I've been during my little hiatus and what I've been doing, where I'm at in the program, what's upcoming. Well, hello everybody. I am sorry for the hiatus. It turns out that reading 45 books in 3 months is a greater endeavor than I thought. People are looking at me. People are looking at me, once again, as usual. I'm walking to the bus for my first day of school. Not that bus. I take public transit. And believe me, it is very public. I feel less judged in public today because, well, I have this awesome bow tie. And my hair is reasonable. It's reasonable. I don't like the large cavern on this side. But today's an exciting day for a variety of reasons. Hey, JP. How you doing? Reason number one, the summer seems to be finished. As you can see, I'm wearing a sweater, which is my favorite form of attire. The second reason why it's exciting is that I'm walking past the coffee shop where I did all of my reading and I'm not stopping. How good. And the third reason why it's exciting is because today is the penultimate first day of school in my PhD program. That's right, I'm hoping that by next year I will be finished. Today's video is a little bit more, I guess, personal, you could say, but there will still hopefully be a little bit of content in here for you to, at least to have some thought-provoking, at least to have some of your thoughts provoked, okay? I can't say I'm going to scintillate you. Is that a verb? You can say scintillating. Something was scintillating. It is a verb when you say scintillating, so I feel like I should be allowed to scintillate people. I'm going to attempt to be a scintillator. Don't get me started on that ER modification, because there's a whole interesting story about that. Anyways, so I want to give you an update basically about where I'm at in the program, why I've been having this hiatus, what's been going on with me. So basically in the summer, after I put up my last video, I kind of talked about it there too, but I was in the middle of reading for my comprehensive exams. And basically the way those things worked was I had to read in 3 separate instances, 15 books on a topic, and then go write an essay exam where I had to just write as much as I could about, a question related to that topic. So here's the thing. When you're choosing your topics for your comps, choose them wisely. That's one of the books for my biblical theology comp. Here's another one. That's 2. You have to have 15 books in each comp topic. 927 pages. Disgusting. Sorry, that's actually 11.5. There's volume 2 for that one, So tomorrow morning, I have to write an exam on these 15 books on the topic of biblical theology. Let me show you what topic I'll be studying for the next month for my next exam. There's one. I don't think I have any on this pile that are that small. Oh, here we go. Now we got some big ones. Okay, that's 2. Look at this. 99 pages. That's it. Just a minute. That's 25 inches. That's 25 inches. 13 inches. So, when you're picking your topics for your comps, okay, you can read these 15 books, or you can read these 15 books. I cannot wait to start this comp. Incidentally, I should point out that the book which used the Forbidden Papyrus font also happens to be the most obnoxiously long one in this set. It would be papyrus. So I did that over the summer. I did the last one. Then in August, I took a little break. Melissa went by herself out to Alberta to visit some friends and family for a couple of weeks. I took the kids down to visit Noah's Ark in Kentucky. Okay, so I don't have my proper recording setup, so the sound's gonna suck, but I'm at the Ark encounter. I don't know if you can hear that wonderful, majestic music, but I'm pretty sure that that music was also playing as they entered the Ark. Listen to that. Oh, they turned it off. Anyway, I'm sure that music was playing as they entered the Ark, just to make everybody who was about to get swept away feel extra ominous. Anyway, we went to the Ark, then we came back, and I started school again, just in time to defend those comprehensive exams, you see, because it's not enough to write them. After you've written them, and in my case, I didn't set it up super well because I had like a whole month in between. You're supposed to kind of do the defense right after you write them. But I had to go and defend them, which basically involved getting grilled by two world-class scholars who are experts in the areas of that my topics were on. Anyways, I passed. So I have 2 years now to finish everything else, which is, in, I guess, order of necessity to complete. Number one, I am currently taking Aramaic. It's quite evident, actually, that the earliest Christians spoke in Aramaic, and some of the little hints you see about the liturgies of the earliest Christians, so if you look at the end of 1 Corinthians, for example, the hints you see are that they had liturgical elements even in Greek-speaking congregations that were Aramaic in origin. Anyway, so it's a really important language, but also substantial parts of the Old Testament are written in it. Daniel chapters 2 to 7 are written entirely in Aramaic, and there are key parts of the book of Ezra that are written in Aramaic. And so if you're going to be an Old Testament scholar, you have to learn Aramaic, so I'm learning it. But then I also have to learn German, because apparently if you're going to write anything about the Old Testament, you have to make sure that some German guy didn't say it first. Ich bin ein Sucker. You have to be able to read some of these old dead Germans who said important things about it in the past. Lots of biblical scholarship has happened in German, and so you have to be able to interact with it, and a lot of it's not translated into English. So basically I'm trying to teach myself German right now, and by the end of this term, I am supposed to go take an exam where I basically just have to show that I can accurately translate an article on a subject, related to my area, I guess. And then on top of it, I need to actually write a proposal for my dissertation before I actually write the dissertation. That proposal has to go to the entire faculty, and they all have to basically agree that I'm allowed to write it. So I got to write a knockdown proposal that can get by the entire faculty, and they all have different opinions and agendas, and so there's, you have to you got to write it well is the point. So it's not a simple task. It's not just like a letter to somebody saying, hey, this is what I'd like to do. So those are the three things I basically need to get done by December. If I finish all of those things by December, I can start writing my dissertation in the new year, and that will give me roughly 1 year to actually finish it, which hopefully is enough time, although a lot of people take more than that. All right, so Tim Hortons has these new things. It's like it's a donut cigar. See that? Winston Churchill becomes Canadian. Hey kids, you want a donut cigar? Yeah. Look at this. The kids all want a donut cigar. No, I said no. Unbelievable. Yeah, I said no. Yeah. Everybody just keep calm, okay? Keep calm. Carry on. I forgot to wear my bowler hat. Now, I want to give you a little bit of an insight into what my dissertation is going to be about, because that's maybe of interest to some of you. So I'm starting with a question. It's a theological question, and that's appropriate because my degree is actually in a thing called Christian theology. That's actually what my degree title is. So I know I'm an Old Testament student, but I'm doing Christian theology, people. So I have a theological question, and that's okay. Take that, Academy, Yale, whoever. Anyway, the theological question is this. What does it mean to be the people of God? And so that's a question that's really relevant just even to the church today, because as we continue to wrestle with what does it mean to be the church in our constantly changing contexts, that's a relevant question just for practice and ministry. And so, but it's also a theological question, and it's also a biblical question, because I would argue that basically most of the Old Testament is really wrestling with that question. Who is Israel? Who are they? Who should they be? Who are they becoming? And what's the point of it all? I want to look at, in particular, with the Old Testament, I want to be looking at this question of what does it mean to be the people of God vis-a-vis Israel. And then I want to look in connection with that to the role of the experience of, expectation of, necessity of, the presence, the manifest presence of God, of Yahweh, in the midst of his people. Because when we read the Old Testament in the churches that I've been a part of, we often think, well, this is, Israel is God's people because they have the law, or because God chose them, or because they have a covenant, or because, there's a lot of different things that it gets tied to. But there's a key passage which is kind of like the launching point for my entire dissertation topic, and I'm going to explore a whole Old Testament theology in relation to it, etc. The key passage is Exodus 33. Moses is on the mountain. The Israelites have just worshipped this golden calf, which has compromised the entire plan that God has made with them. And so now Moses is interceding, and God agrees, first of all, not to kill them, so that's a bonus, because if they were dead, they couldn't be his people. But then Moses basically says, you got to come with us to the promised land, because God is threatening. He says, I'm going to just send an angel to clear out the promised land, and you guys can all just go live there, basically, but I'm not coming. And Moses says, no, you have to come. Not because, we want to hang out, but because Moses says very explicitly in that passage, if you don't come, we will not be a distinct people. Which I think is really actually quite stunning from the way that I was raised in church to think about issues of identity in the Old Testament in terms of being God's people. Because the way I always understood it in the churches I've been a part of is that if you have the law, or if you have the covenant, or if you have election, being chosen or whatever, because they're God's people because God called Abraham, etc. But actually, no, they have all that. In Exodus 33, they have all that because they're still descendants of Abraham. He's still going to give them the promised land and let them live there and provide, get rid of the inhabitants for them by sending this other angel. So in some sense, they even, it seems like, are still going to have the covenant if he's keeping the promise about the land. They certainly have the law, right? Because Moses is going to get a second copy, and they've already written down this book of the law anyway. So Moses broke the tablets, but they've heard the law and they've written it down in another book. So they've got everything they need to be the people of God, and yet Moses basically says, yeah, they can have all that stuff, and they'd be no different than everybody else on the face of the earth. The only way we're going to be uniquely distinct is if God himself lives with us. And of course, this is all happening in Exodus 33 in the middle of God's instructions to Moses to build the tabernacle. And that's when this whole episode with the golden calf and everything takes place. Anyway, so Moses succeeds, and God says, okay, I will actually dwell with you and go with you. And it's actually only on that basis that the rest of the covenant program can even go forward and can properly be reestablished, etc. Anyway, there's a lot of other stuff that happens there. To me, it's interesting from like a lay perspective in the church. I don't think that's often how we think about Israel's kind of like identity as God's people. So that's what I'm going to be exploring in my dissertation. And I'm going to be exploring that stuff in particular connection to a couple of Pauline passages where I think those issues of identity and what it means to be the people of God are helpful and relevant to the context of interpreting what Paul is getting at in those passages. And so getting that context and that understanding of what it means to be the people of God from a kind of theological synthesis of Old Testament ideas, I think is going to be a helpful way to gain some new insight and clarity into a couple of Pauline passages that are to date highly debated and will continue to be. I'm not going to convince everybody and solve anything, probably. Nobody ever does. But anyway, so that'll be my dissertation. So as far as upcoming videos, I really need input, okay? So please, in the comments down below, please put in there what you would like to see, because I want to start producing more content-based videos. I'm not only interested in sharing things that I happen to be specifically working on or studying or exploring in my own work at the moment. I don't only want to talk about those things. I would like to start making content-based videos where, again, I said my calling is to be an educator of the church. So it's like, if there's just like stuff that's useful, basic kind of like Christian educational stuff, Bible study stuff that would be helpful and useful to people, that's what I want to produce. So please, in the comments, put down there, stuff you'd like to see videos on. Topics, questions, Bible verses, issues, contemporary stuff going on in the world that could use some biblical kind of, insights and commentary, etc., etc. Because I would love to make videos that are really going to be of interest and useful to people and not just, what I happen to find kind of fun to rant about. I need input, I need feedback, because I don't know if people are liking these videos or not. It's just like, I don't know where this is gonna go, or, anyway, I need that kind of feedback, so please, help me out, okay?
There is an H in it!
All right. right, let's pop this bad boy. There we go. Hi. Hi. My name is Ambrose. Okay, people. Hi. I'm trying to come up with a good intro for these videos. I'm Ambrose, and this is PH Doozy. Hi. Hey. Hi. That feels weak sauce to me. Hi. Hi. I digress. Hi. I don't feel like that's believable. Hi. Hi there. Let's got a hair on my hand here.